This session is going to be recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and let you know that, so that if you want to come back later and see it or invite someone else to view it, they're welcome to see this. Welcome to Tejano Virtual Events. Thank you all so much for coming. Today we're going to have not only an educational workshop, but one that sounds really delicious and is just in time for Valentine's Day. So we are joined by our fantastic EPCC Culinary Arts Department. We're going to have Chef Diaz and Chef Gutierrez preparing a phenomenal menu for us today. So please get comfortable, mute your mics, and if you have any questions, please place them in the chat box. I am going to also be providing a link for your Tejano passport points for attending. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And so Chef Diaz and Chef Gutierrez, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Just want to make sure, double check.
Yes.
We're good? Excellent.
Yes,
all right. Well, it's been a while, Gail, since we've done a demo for you guys. So, you know, hope everything's well, you know, especially during this pandemic. Everyone's should be cooking at home since we're spending most of our time there and we're not here at work, right? Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. If you didn't hear about the menu itself, we're gonna, like Sanchez had said, we're gonna focus on Valentine's Day, okay? I'm gonna make you guys, and I just thought about it right now. I'm gonna actually be cooking for Gutierrez because he's gonna be manning the video, and I'm gonna be doing the cooking. So I guess you can say I'm cooking for him. Just don't tell my wife, okay? Because she'll get mad. Anyways, moving forward, guys, we're gonna do a Petite Sirloin. Show you guys, in my opinion, the best way you guys can cook a steak, okay? And a Petite Sirloin is just it's petite, but it's also lean, okay? You guys can use any type of steak you'd like, of course. But anyway, we'll get into that just so we don't waste time. We'll make time for questions. We're also going to have a baked lobster that we're going to put in the oven along with the finger leaf potatoes. Some green beans sauteed, real simple, easy, delicious items, guys, that, you know, I'm telling you, you guys can make this at home. It's not complicated at all, real easy to do. So let's go ahead and get started, okay? All right. For starters, guys, and I did turn off the fan because I remember last time we did this demo, it was kind of hard to hear. So what I'm going to do, and we'll turn it on when I do use the grill itself. I'm going to go ahead and start with the portobello. So the portobello mushroom, you can use button mushroom if you like, but this is larger. And this is actually how it looks when you guys receive it, okay? I do have my compost, okay, which is my little bowl right here that we use. We grind it up and we you know, to put outside in our garden, just to make soil. So we don't waste anything here. But as you guys can see, before I get started, and I should have started with this first, clean station, organized, ready to go. Nothing's out of its place. I know where everything's at. That's what we call mise en place, and that's what we want to focus on, as always. But I'm getting so excited because I haven't had breakfast, so I want to get into the cooking part, okay? So, but yes, clean, organized, ready to go. The stem itself, a little bit tougher, guys. Everything's edible here, okay? You can just tilt it if you want. See, look, it's not shaking. Like I said, everything's edible, but for this, we're gonna grill it. So I want to keep it nice, flat, shaped, okay? The gills itself are edible. If you're gonna use it, for example, and say like a cream sauce, I would definitely take it out because it will darken your sauce. Some people say it tastes muddy. Some people just don't like it. But you can eat it if you want. Not a big deal. Okay? Guys, I'm barely applying any pressure right here. All of it comes out. It looks like chocolate. Huh? That must be hungry. All right. And guys, if you can't hear me at any point, please stop me right as soon as you can, so everybody gets the information. All right. So there we go. Clean it up. Get a little dry towel, which I have here. I know you guys can't see it. Rubbing the outside too. A lot of questions that students do ask when how do you clean the mushrooms itself? You never want to soak mushrooms in water, okay? Because I've seen it a lot. You know, a mushroom is a sponge, and you definitely don't want to soak it in water. Just get a towel itself. Of course, it's a wet towel, but get a dry towel. Brush all that dirt off. Okay, inside. I'm using actually paper towels right here. So we're good to go. Okay. If you guys can tell, I did take off this layer because I wanna get myself a grill mark through and through on top and bottom. Okay, but you guys can obviously leave it. And it was breaking apart a little bit. It does happen. Not a big deal. For demonstration purposes, I am doing this marinade to show you, like I said, for demonstration purposes. But I recommend you guys do this a day in advance or even in the morning. It would be best. You want to let it soak up all that goodness. All I'm using, real simple, is just balsamic vinegar. I have some olive oil, extra virgin, of course, some salt, some cracked black pepper, and of course my favorite, garlic. If it doesn't have garlic, don't give it to me. I love garlic so much. It's very delicious. All right, I have my tasting spoons here, obviously clean, that I'm just using to mix. Okay? Real simple. Thank you. All right. Okay. And of course, you can make a little bit more if you'd like. It's pretty much equal portions on the balsamic. You can treat it like a vinaigrette, do a 3-to-1 ratio. 3 being the oil itself and 1 being the vinegar. But again, it's your preference. Okay. Real simple, easy, guys, and that makes a whole world of difference. You can use straight olive oil, salt, pepper. It's your call, your taste buds. But this is going to be our base on top of. I don't want to spoil the presentation, but this is going to be the base for the steak itself. I can't wait. And if you guys are looking to do a vegetarian or vegan option, you can do portobello fajitas, which is something I've done before when I worked at the hospital, and it was incredible. First time ever doing that, but just the marinade itself, the balsamic helps darken it, give it a robust, delicious presentation. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. All right, everybody good so far? Okay, well, can't hear anybody, but I'm guessing. All right. So next thing, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about green beans, okay? Because we want some color in this dish, and that's part of building a menu. Look at the color, look at dovetailing certain ingredients. Like garlic goes in everything, so it's not just one item or one dish. So color here, I'm gonna go ahead and do asparagus. And I think we might have done this. I'm sorry, green beans. We might have done asparagus before in the past, but anyway, if you guys can see the difference. Sorry, it's a small little camera or picture. Okay, these were actually, I went ahead and blanched them in some boiling water, of course salted, like the sea, just like making pasta. It helps to brighten up the flavor itself. Okay, these are going to get sauteed, but of course after you blanch them for roughly, you're talking about maybe 30, 45 seconds, depending on how firm they are. The fresher they are, the firmer they are. As they age, you start to get something like this. Okay, and I kept it for this long to show you. So you guys can see, obviously I'm not going to use these. That's why I had them just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take off. And I'm talking about cutting on the bias. Okay, you don't want to just do a straight cut. Okay, because everything needs to be about presentation. Okay, when you're fabricating any proteins or vegetables. Not always do you have to cut these ends off. You really want to focus on these. Okay, on the root ends. These you do want to take off. So on the bias, which is on an angle cut. There we go. There's one. There's not too much. Okay?
Why does it, there was a question,
Yes.
I couldn't read it.
I'm sorry. If you guys, if you don't mind, Gil,
Yeah.
let us know the questions.
Sure. It says, why does it not get a straight cut? Does it look bad?
Oh, on the green bean, of course you can do a straight cut, but it's just, you're looking at, sorry, you want to look at at an angle cut. Angle just adds to the presentation. Okay, but of course you guys can do, as long as it looks clean, definitely, just choose whatever cut you would like to do. Okay.
Thank you.
So these are ready. Yes. So these are ready to go. We're gonna saute them later on. So all we're doing again, guys, is mise en place. I did my mise en place to get all my utensils, salt, pepper, everything, ingredients ready to go. Now we're still continuing with the mise en place, which is something we strive on here with the program, culinary program with the students, even pastry, menu management, all those classes. We mise en place, have your stuff ready for you. You're not waiting for it, in other words. So you guys probably haven't seen a large a roasted red potato like this, but this is what we're going to use. Okay, and this is more than enough for me, for one of my dishes, but this is more than enough for a plate itself. Okay. As always, you want to go ahead and rinse it off. Do a little scrub if you can with a designated brush, of course, not one for your nails. Okay, which I already did here. And all we're going to do, guys, the main thing you want to focus on is uniform cuts. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because it's pretty much, for the most part, even all the way around, all I'm going to do is cut it down the middle. Okay, sharp knife, of course. You look for any little, any browning on the inside. You want to go ahead and just cut that off. Don't want that. Again, very minimal waste. You want to maximize your edible portion, okay? This is your edible portion. That, yes, it is waste, but it's not going in the trash. It's still going to be used. Not for consumption, of course, but it'll be used somewhere. All right, excellent. So now we're good to go. This one's a little bit smaller than this one. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut, just use your best judgment, guys. Again, focusing on uniform cuts. These might be too big for you guys. You want to cut them smaller, by all means, go ahead. Okay. Again, so I can probably cut this into thirds. Of course, when I'm cutting, I always want to keep your nails, your fingers curled. Okay. And I'll go ahead and talk about that more in depth right here. So when you guys are cutting, and I know the question is, how does the chef, how is he able to look at you when he's cutting? Well, because the blade itself never goes above the knuckle. If it does, it's going to, because you're applying, it's not much, I'm talking about minimal pressure as far as keeping the blade itself against your knuckle. Once it comes up, it's going to, even if it's, a quarter of an inch and you press down, well, you're talking about bad news. Everything has to get thrown away, wash, sanitize, you got to start over. Stitches. Yeah, stitches. Oh, yeah. So, you want to show your face? No. Okay. Chef Gutierrez says hi. He's camera shy. But he does say hi. Okay. So, like I said, we're not chopping. All we're doing is one simple cut from the top down. We're not doing any sawing motion, okay? That's the beauty about having a sharp knife. The work should be, let the knife do the work, okay? You're not having to struggle. If you are, get a new knife. If you already tried to sharpen it multiple times. But yeah, okay. So moving forward, make sure to keep it below the time. Oh, I can see it here, 114, okay. There we go. Cool. All right. And now, so if I was doing mashed potatoes, guys, of course I would use russet baked, the baked potatoes that we all love, have in our house, our pantry. Some that are sprouting more than they should. I know I ran into that issue a couple times. But the reason why you like using red potatoes is because they're waxy. These will hold their shape. Okay, mashed potatoes are meant to be, mashed. These you can, if you were to mash up, eventually it'll start to taste good. It'll have a gummy texture to it, which you don't want. Which is why they hold up against, the oven when you want to roast it, which is very delicious, by the way. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add some olive oil. Again, everything's right here ready for me. I'm not having to reach across. I'm not having to go over there. I'm right here. I have my, my iced tea. I have the TV going. That's it. Of course, if I'm at home. Cooking should be fun, relaxing. If have the kids do most of the work. Clean up, of course. Why not? A little bit of garlic, salt. Okay. Now, if you guys aren't a fan of pepper itself, maybe you want to just hide the pepper. Go ahead and buy some white pepper. That's culinary pepper. It's very delicious, very pungent. Something I would recommend. Of course, if you're doing a Alfredo sauce, that's when you definitely want to use. You don't want those black specks. It's not a gravy. Okay. So just those simple toss. Easy. I have my sheet pans lined with parchment paper. And this is ready for the oven. Real simple. Done. Okay. Now, potatoes are ready to go in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and pop them in right now. We have our green beans ready to get sauteed. I have my saute. You guys can see. Yeah. I got my saute pan over there. We have our portobello. We're going to grill a little bit. Now, the Petite Sirloin itself, I want to get into that. Guys, any choice, any choice of meat you want to use, it's totally up to you. This would be a choice. You can use prime if you like. You want to use Angus. I mean, it's up to you. It's the money you want to spend. But something that's a little bit less expensive would be your sirloin. Okay, this comes from the top sirloin. Okay, my favorite of all time would well, it's a struggle. It's that I don't like to make it hard on myself. So if I go to a restaurant and I go with a wife or a friend, it's like, I'm going to get the ribeye, you're going to get the tenderloin, and we're going to share. I don't want to, I don't want to make it hard on myself because I want to get both, And why am I choosing those two? Well, the biggest decision, at a restaurant, steakhouse is, do you want to go with something that has marbling, that has that fat, that delicious flavor that just melts at a certain temperature, or do you want to go with something that's tender and lean? Maybe you're on a diet. Well, then go with a tenderloin. A tenderloin, oh my God, that's the part of I'm starting to drool over here. Lucky you guys aren't here because, you're gonna see drool all over the place. So a tenderloin itself, that's the muscle that doesn't move. That's part of the back of the cow that doesn't move. That's why it's so tender. Just like Kobe beef, if we've heard of it, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of that. Those cows don't move. They're basically lazy. They're like my brother on a summer vacation, just staying at home. See, he's pointing at himself too. Chef Gutierrez. He's like, that's me. So that muscle not moving, guys, I'm telling you, the way to know for 100% that if you have beef tenderloin, you can cut into it with a fork. Okay, I'm talking about well done steak. That's how tender it is. It's a little bit more expensive than a ribeye, than a New York strip, but my favorite between the two. What is the difference with Angus beef? It's just the breeding process as far as Angus goes. I've compared, like a choice steak and Angus, and I'm not meant to, I don't know. I really didn't find much of a difference when it came to like Angus and like something choice. But Angus it's just such a different breed of a cow that's being used. It sounds fancy, it is, you're not going to pay an arm and a leg for it, but it's going to be it's going to be less than what you would pay for a different cut of beef. Okay. usually when I go to Costco or Sam's, they tend to have Angus beef. I just look for, if it's prime, I'm gonna pay about $3 extra to Ford. If it's choice, which is the less, I won't go anything less than choice. Select, I just won't deal with it. That has no marbling. It's just, you know, it's inexpensive. I'll probably chop it up and use it for stew or something, but for the most part, I'll stick with choice. Prime, like I said, is very delicious, but if you have the money, go ahead and spend it. But guys, don't be discouraged on getting top sirloin to make, or like a petite sirloin to make steaks. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay? Great questions, guys. Keep it coming. All right, we're gonna get into the simple, again, olive oil, salt, pepper. That's all we want to do for the steak itself. I'm gonna go ahead and do a sear. So technically, you don't have to add olive oil, okay? Because what we're gonna put it on is on a saute pan. The reason why I'm putting oil is just because I'm used to grilling it. So if you're gonna grill it, well, obviously you wanna go ahead and coat it with some kind of fat to prevent it from sticking, keep it lubricated, all right? So I'm gonna put my potatoes in real quick, 350-degree oven. I bumped it up to 375. What are we at? 121. Just to get the speed up the process a little bit. It's not too much. And I did put 12 minutes for now. Usually it takes about 20, but you have, I mean, at home, guys, we have a conventional oven. Here we have convection. Okay, the fan's in the back, it's blowing like crazy. So you're speeding up the process with cooking with the convention ovens. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. So the green beans, guys, and this is the other thing too. Well, a lot of people get confused when they're making a certain dish. It's like, well, what do I cook first? And then you have stuff just waiting there, getting cold. Okay. So look at that. Look at the vegetables. Those can be sauteed real quick. This is already part cooked because it was blanched and then shocked in an ice bath. The mushroom itself takes about 5 minutes to grill. Okay. We have the lobster, which can take, and it's probably about a minute and a half per ounce. Okay, that you want to look at for a lobster tail. Okay. Get yourself a thermometer, guys. And although everybody asks, well, how do we know? How do we check? This is the first thing you want to use. Okay, 140 degrees. For seafood, it's 145. When you're talking about lobster, do not exceed 140 degrees. You have carryover. Anything you cook has carryover for the most part, especially big, like mussels, protein. It's going to continue to cook as it rests. So 140 degrees. I mean, my wife won't even cook lobster for me because she knows how picky I am. And it's like, if you overcook it, if you cook it at 145, it's going to get rubbery by the time you actually consume it. Just want, you know, I'm not saying you have to let it rest, but, you know, guys, it's just 140 degrees, no more. Take it out, and I'll show you guys how to temp it in a little bit, okay? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get the steak going. I got my cast iron, okay, brought it from the house. Chef would get it, kind of makes fun because I like bringing my equipment just because I'm just so used to using mine. We have some here, but I just like bringing mine, I don't know, just, for one, I'm seasoning the skillet. If you guys don't have a cast iron, please invest in one. I wish my grandpa and my grandma would have bought one a long time ago, which they did, but I don't know if they threw it away or I don't know what happened. Probably like evidence. You're getting hungry. Yeah, me too. Thank you, Norma. Get one. Every time you use it, you're seasoning it over. It's just a build. So in other words, it's very porous. You don't want to let it keep it submerged when you're cleaning it inside soapy water. Give it a wipe down, and even just using a towel. And then, of course, in the end, you just rub it with a little bit of oil, inexpensive oil. Don't use your price one, okay? But yeah, just take care of it, guys. Don't let it rust. When you first buy it, just like a wok, that's when you want to season it rub it with oil, put it in a 500-degree oven, put it outside on the grill, invert it all around. That's just helping it it's preventing it from rusting, okay? All right, I know we're getting hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead. Got my steak. Remember, salt, pepper, a little oil. You don't have to, but it does help. Lower it up. This is iron and metal, guys, that was melted together, so it does take a bit of time for it to heat up, okay? Be patient. It's gonna happen, I promise.
So, Chef, we had a question from Ezekiel.
Talk to me.
Ezekiel, did you have a question?
If he doesn't, I do.
Go ahead.
What was that again?
I missed what tool he said he wished his grandparents had. What was it?
All the tools that your grandparents had, or your grandma had.
Tools?
So yeah, what kind of tools did he have in the kitchen?
This is gonna be like an hour discussion, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. My grandpa passed away. This was the way I dealt with his death. He had cans, you name it, canned asparagus, canned mushrooms, and I told my grandma when I went to her grave, I'm like, I lost total respect for your husband. Joking around, because he would cook, but it was like he had like 1850s, saute pans, and just joking around, but he didn't have like equipment that I would have brought back because it was just dull, rusty. He really didn't, his tools he took care of. Anything in the kitchen? No. He can make cheesecake like you wouldn't believe, but everything else was like, I still can't believe it. Whenever I see canned asparagus, I like crawl into a ball and just start crying. I'm like, why, Grandpa, why? I'm joking around, but yeah, he didn't have much equipment to pass on to me. Tools, I mean, everything from Sears. He had a mini Sears in his garage, and that's the good thing that came out of his craziness. But yeah. All right. See. All right, so right there, guys, I have it on a medium-low heat, and I will move it over closer so you guys can see it a little bit. But just let it do its thing, okay? It's cast iron skillet. Is that what you're asking? You're asking about all the equipment. I'm sorry. But yeah, the cast iron, they did have a cast iron, but I don't know what happened to it. But that's something I love, traditions. I love, the one I have at the house. If my wife can eventually have kids, I want to pass it down to them. If not, I'm just going to give it to the neighbor because they have kids. But I don't know. Something, it's great, to say, hey, this has been in the family for 100 years. That's awesome. All right, guys, let's get into the lobster. Okay, let me get some gloves on real quick. All right, let me speed this up a little bit. Drop the heat slightly. All right, using lobster. Okay, I got some ice packs. It's not sitting in ice itself. I got ice packs on the bottom and on top. Okay, safety and sanitation, guys. It's the first class we teach here in the program. Okay, I don't want to injure anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody, send anyone to the hospital, especially when using raw ingredients. So lobster, this is where it gets fun. Okay, scissors. We got our shears for the lobster tail itself. Be careful. You do have spiny areas, very pointy, sharp. Okay. Sorry, get back up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is from the top part, all I'm doing is cutting the shell. I'm not digging into the meat. I'm keeping it about yay, maybe half an inch. I'm going all the way down. I'm stopping when I hit the pins. Now, if you want to use a towel, in case you don't trust yourself, so you don't prick yourself, it's up to you. All I'm going to do here, I'm just opening it. You're going to crack it. You can hear it cracking. That's fine. It's part of it. I'm just opening it up. Okay, very gentle. Guys, you can make it easier on yourself and just cut it all the way down with a sharp knife. Cut it all the way through. So in other words, you have two halves. Just grill those. Throw them in the oven. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. So you guys can see I'm not pulling it all the way. We still have a bunch of meat inside, descending all the way down to the fins itself. We want to keep that there. Now I'm going to close it. I'm going to pinch it. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and just let it rest. You want to open it up. Watch out for the intestine, which was already pulled. Okay? If you guys ever wonder how they do that in restaurants, that's it. Real simple, easy. I'm not pulling this meat off. This is obviously edible stuff. Another thing you can do, thank you. What you can do to prevent it from curling is you can just snip it down the middle. If you guys have ever had sushi, you wonder how when you guys are served shrimp, how it stays so flat, knowing that shrimp is already curls even more when it cooks. That's basically what they're doing. They're breaking up the muscle structure. You can put in skewers if you'd like. Totally up to you. All right.
So the question someone just asked is, when you cracked it, did you crack it in or out?
I'm cracking it. My fingers were coming out, and I'm kind of pushing it in with my palms, very gently. But you are going to hear a crack, and that's just to open up the shell, just to allow the meat to come out. Okay. Great questions. Move your fans out. Remember, always presentation. Even my cereal has presentation. I'm kidding. It isn't. I'm kidding. All right. As always, wash my hands. We'll be right back for this bad boy. Got our steak going. Yep. All right. Okay, I'm gonna get into grab me that butter that's in there, man, please. Grab me that butter that's in the. There you go. All right, guys. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right, guys. This is the delicious part. We'll get to the lobster right now. We still have time on that. This is the delicious part for your steak. Garlic cloves, 2, 3, 10,000. That's up to you what you guys want to use. Back of the knife. Press down. Okay. Do one at a time. If you don't trust yourself, just crack it. If you guys ever find or want to invent something, thyme cologne and garlic cologne. I'll buy like a case right now. I swear. Delicious. Fresh herbs, especially thyme, my favorite. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and add some butter, unsalted, as always. 2 more minutes. Cool. Thank you. Oh, my. Okay. All right. You want to bring the camera later?
You want this connected, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Where you at?
guys see?
Yes.
Cast iron handles do get very hot, guys. So please be careful. All right. If you guys have seen this done before, give me a thumbs up. If you've tried this, give me 2 thumbs up. They're ready to eat. They're ready? Okay. Guys, so all we're doing is basting. When one of the many questions students will ask is, you know, what's your preference when you open up a restaurant? You want to put a grill or do you want to put a flat top? My opinion would honestly has to be a flat top. Why? Because, you know, yes, burgers are great on a grill, but when you put them on a flat top, it's just cooking in its own juice. The reason why I love doing this method, especially for something that's tender, it is tender, but something that's lean, is because you're helping the fat content, okay? You're adding fat to it, flavoring it up.
We're gonna definitely be trying it.
But you see, nothing's burning, okay? Minutes. We're getting some browning on there. Some of the drop it's 350.
Is the heat on low at all times?
Yes, so it's at medium low the whole time. Another reason why, and sorry, I meant to tell you this earlier. By putting olive oil first and then putting butter, you're helping the butter not burn as quick. Okay, but also because the temperature was low. Look at all that. Oh my god. If I had bread, I would just douse it in there and then, of course, let it cool down. I don't want to burn myself. You get what I'm saying.
You would burn yourself.
So you can, I've seen people turn it up. You can still continue to sear. Guys, I'm just gonna let it go. Okay, we have time. Get it? We have time. No, we have time. So we're gonna let it just cook. I might turn it every once in a while. Steve will help me out, or I'll do it myself. Just, you know, come back every once in a while. You're cooking for your loved one. Right when they walk in, just start doing this. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, this is making dinner. And everybody will be like, wow, what is going on over there? Am I right? All right, let's let that go.
Send out and then green this.
Okay, cool. All right. We have our grill nice and hot. What I have over here, guys, is clarified butter in our ramekin. Clarified butter, that's going to be for the lobster itself, something I would recommend for you guys to make ahead of time. Unsalted butter, put it in a pot. Go ahead and just low flame. Even like something, even just the pilot that we use here is enough. Putting it on a flat top, when I used to work at Mason Street, that's right when you walk in. The heat alone, that without turning it on, go ahead and just melt it. All the solids that form on top, all the solids that form on top, that's what you're going to take off, okay? What you want in the end is 100% fat, okay? By doing that, you're talking about prolonging the life of your butter itself, okay? The smoke point, that's another thing. If you want to sear something, the smoke point is a lot higher if it's clarified, okay? Anyway, but look at it this way too. Off of a pound, 16 ounces, you're going to end up with roughly 12 ounces of clarified butter. So that's 4 ounces of waste that you can't use, okay? But still, in the end, that's liquid gold, and there's nothing wrong with that. Am I right? Cool. All right, so we're going to grill. Got our lobster right here. Let me go ahead and do the topping for you. So many ways you can go about this, guys. Paprika, which we've all seen. salt, pepper, douse it in butter. But that's kind of what we are going to do, just the butter part. Okay. I do have some Old Bay seasoning. Old Bay is very delicious, guys, especially for seafood. You can also use it for chicken. Okay, just a little bit right there, about a tablespoon. I got some parsley. I'm gonna go ahead and chop up. Again, looking at you guys. Why? Because the blade doesn't go above my knuckle. Okay. This is one of the objectives students have to do for their practical and their practicum. It's one of the classes right before you exit culinary. Take about 10 minutes, pretty much making parsley dust. First time I did it, I couldn't look at parsley the same anymore. It's, yeah. Takes a long time. All right, but I'm not doing that here. A little bit in there. Awesome. Go ahead and put this back for later use. Let's get that out of the way. Clean, 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 as always. Got to be organized. All right, salt, pepper, again. And I did melt some butter, guys, that we have up here in the heat lamp. I don't want to move it right now, but we have our heat lamp for service because I am in 1309 restaurant. We do have curbside meals. Next week we have an event, so we won't be doing curbside for the public, but after that we will. So please, if you get anybody in El Paso, you know someone, please look us up. Is that garlic salt still or regular? Yes. Garlic, the same thing we've been putting. Actually, I didn't put the garlic. But yeah, garlic, parsley, butter. What else do we have? Salt, pepper. All right, let me check on the steak real quick. All right. None of you guys could see me when I was doing that. Everything good? Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, guys. So, pastry brush. Okay. Mix everything up. You guys have fun with this. Oh, okay. The most important part. Microplane. Okay. Get yourself a microplane to zest. Something I recommend, guys, because I've seen people just cut lemons, limes, and they throw them away. Zest has more flavor than the juice itself. Use the zest, please. Sorry, I'm not mad at you guys. I'm just flashbacks. Oh yeah. So for this, I'm not even going to use the juice. Just going to keep it strictly. Strictly zest. So yeah, people do put a paprika. If you want it spicy, put a little bit of cayenne. To give it some color. Oh yeah. The aroma is so intoxicating. I just want to put some, on my neck and just walk around the building and see how many people get jealous. Right? Patricia? I would never do that, okay? So please, we don't do that here. Ready to go, guys. Seasoned. Done. The only thing I didn't do was season the bottom. Okay, but you want to do that also. Just trying to speed it up a little bit for you guys. Awesome. You're such a great helper. I love it. Awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. So right now we're about 135. We're going on probably about a medium temperature. Okay. Since it is medium rare to medium is something you want to do. 125 minimum. I would say 130. 130 degrees. Take it out. Let it rest. And remember, this is a lean piece of meat. If we go past time today, please keep going. Oh, no, I'm trying to get 2 o'clock. I'm working on not talking so much because Chef Gutierrez keeps on saying, especially if we do another one for 30 minutes. So yeah, imagine how fast I'm talking. Oh. But yes, thank you for letting me know that. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna speed this up.
All right, and he's excited too.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and grill, guys, real quick. We have our portobello mushroom. Just gonna drop this on. There we go. And I'm using another pair of tongs. The other ones here were for the steak. Okay, so I only have 3 sections on, which is just the middle. Okay, and you guys can kind of tell, hopefully you guys can. You look over here and you see how dark the crates are. And you look how white they are. That's one way of telling how hot your grill is. Okay? Oh, that's gorgeous. All right. 5 more minutes. Good to go.
What was the question again?
It says, can the portobello mushrooms be grilled on a barbecue grill? And how do we know when it's done?
Yes. Okay, so on a barbecue grill, yes, of course. Chef Gutierrez did have a good idea. If you guys can get one of the skillet, or what's they call, like a plancha, that's double-sided. One would be flat, another one would have the crates or the grill mark to give you the grill markings on the other side. Those are great. Just make sure and get a heavy-duty one because they will warp, especially with high heat. I use mine outside when I'm doing Asian and I want a gorgeous sear. I take off the crates. I put it right there on the it's about 500, 600 degrees. You want to go ahead and, like I said, get one that's heavy duty because it will warp. As far as doneness, guys, it's going to be soft. It's going to soften up, and that's the beauty of cooking it. Like I said, you can eat these raw, but when you cook it, it enhances the flavor. Okay, so you're talking about maybe grilling itself is turn it twice, flip once. Okay, so turn it once, flip it once, and then you turn it twice. Okay? That's what grilling should be. Okay, not turning, flipping, checking. Just let it do its thing. About maybe a minute to minute and a half, depending on the thickness. And we're talking about every time you turn it. Okay, so you turn it, flip it, so you're adding a minute and a half every time. Okay, it doesn't take long. Okay, the marinade itself is going to help, soften it along with the heat. So it's not going to be, chewy. It's not going to be tough. It just sample it, guys. Try it at home. See what works for you. But again, it's always on the thickness. We can't give you an exact time because, not everything's built the same. Okay? So, and guys, are we having fun so far? Our mouths drooling? This isn't hard, right? Like, it's easy. It's simple stuff. We have we have your kids at the grill. If you want, man, don't burn it. That's all you got to say. Yeah, I got it right here. 149, right? Yeah? Okay. We have our lobster tail about to pop in the oven. Our potatoes are about to come out. Our steak's already done. We're good. The only thing left is the green beans. Okay, let's go ahead and get that started. Oh, Julie. Awesome. All right. still have time, guys, on the green beans, because like I said, they are par cooked. Okay, we blanched them. So you're helping yourself out, and it's just like this is restaurant stuff. Okay, you do a bunch ahead of time. So hey, I need green beans on the fly. Okay, give me 1 minute, as opposed to give me 5 minutes, because every second counts. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in the oven, guys. Okay, for 140 degrees. You guys should really smell this right now. I'm gonna smell it the whole way to the oven. Okay. Oh man. So this one itself was, oh, look at the potatoes. Huh? Pretty good. Not too bad. Delicious.
I'm sure you finish Whataburger.
Who's eating Whataburger right now?
Oh, Whataburger.
Hey, I'll trade. So that lobster tail itself, guys, it's probably about 5 to 6 ounces. Okay, it is pricey. I understand. And going to the store, people they don't want to buy a certain thing because it's too expensive.
Chef, somebody asked about why in the oven versus boiling water.
Oh God! So if you're talking about a whole lobster, some people do submerge it, but I wouldn't even do that. I would just steam it. Hey, I'm gonna wait like a few more minutes. So I always bring up my grandma and my wife's grandma, and anybody that makes enchiladas, for example. Or if you've seen anybody ever make even chicken pot pie, whatever it might be, people want to boil the chicken. Don't boil it. Don't use, that's a bad B word, okay? Let's stay away from that. We don't want to use that. Boiling, all you're talking about, it's like you're beating up the chicken, you're pushing all that moisture out. For one, before you actually start the cooking process, you want to treat it with love. You want to go ahead and season it. Treat it right. Okay, and that's what I did with the lobster. We went ahead and basted it, okay? The inside of it, directly in the middle, no, it's not going to taste all this goodness, okay? But once you bite into it, you're talking about layers. You get into that first crunch, light crunch of the oil or the butter, the parsley and all that. But when you boil something, you're just messing up the muscle structure, and just forcing you gotta be. It's like smoking beef. You want it low and slow is the way to go. Hey, that rhymes, right? You want to just be patient with it. Boiling something is if you're in a rush. But going back to the chicken, when I make enchiladas, I still do a marinade, oil, salt, pepper, grill it. You're talking about baby steps to get to your final destination, which is happiness when you're consuming, something simple. It's just, yes, how long does the lobster stay in the oven? Good. 350 degrees, remember about 1.5 minutes per ounce, okay? But again, size, you need to weigh it. But again, like I told you, get a thermometer. Even though you have it set, if it says, you do the math, it says 7 minutes, bump it back down to 6. I never trust, I always bump it down. That's something my mom and grandma did teach me when they taught me cooking. Even the oven, if it says 350, my mom likes to go 345 because she doesn't, if she's using someone else's oven, because she doesn't trust it. Which is where I got mine, keep it clean because, you want to use it, keep it running the way it should be. Should be at 350 if you have it at 350. Okay? Great questions, guys. Sorry if I didn't see all of them. Let me go check on let me start the green beans real quick. Awesome. Sorry, let's see what you put in. A little bit of olive oil. So this is what we would call saute, okay? Hot pan, cold oil. Saute means to jump. You want it to be quick. If I put it in, for example, we were to put a chicken breast in there, like I did the steak, and you didn't hear the sear, all you're talking about doing is just you're making the flesh of it stick to the bottom. This here is going to start, it's going to, well, of course the green beans is different, but something that contains, something like the steak or the chicken itself, it will stick to the bottom, which is why you got to be careful. Temperature is everything. I just listen to the sound. You want to hear the sear. Cool. Let's do a little salt. Everything gets seasoned. Awesome. And these are pretty much done, guys. We got color on them because it was hot. Look, we're done. Just want to let them heat up. It's simple, easy. But if you're doing a big batch, of course, get a bigger sausage.
I'm sure the next.
Oh, we need the light on.
Yeah, it's a little dark.
Doesn't work.
You have about 3-4 minutes.
We got this. All right. Got our plate up. All right. Let me start making some room, guys, so we can just plate up. Zeke, if you don't mind, if you guys have questions, go ahead. Zeke's gonna get us. Gonna keep an eye on. If you guys, someone wants to chime in. You guys are just waiting for the food, huh? All right. Awesome. Let's get another cutting board over here. Wow, the aroma of the lobster right now, guys. Woo. Very delicious.
What's that for, chef?
This is going to be for the portobello. We're going to slice it. Oh, to prevent your cutting board from sliding, of course.
Okay.
It's wet. I like using microfiber towels at the house. I have about 2 bags of those and ready for, use them for everything. Beans are ready. Steak is ready. Potatoes. Awesome. So you guys already saw a little glimpse into the lobster itself. You're already forming the presentation by creating your butter itself, okay? The one thing, because I went back and forth with you guys, or sorry, with Gutierrez and myself, collaborating this menu. Wanted to do a compound butter, and that's basically, what we did here. All right. Okay. 3 minutes. I was guesstimating 10. I put the timer for 7, so we're looking about right. So like I was telling you, compound butter would be softened butter itself, unsalted, left out at room temperature for at least an hour or 2, depending on the size of the brick or the butter that you're using. Put it in a food process, a KitchenAid mixer, or even just a bowl like this. Add all your ingredients that we added here, okay? If you guys have ever gone to a steakhouse here, State Line, far west side, their cinnamon, their butter, their cinnamon butter with the honey and all that they use for their bread, that's what they're known for. You guys and everybody's like, oh, that's just, how do you make that? But showing people how to do it, how to execute that, it's just like, wow, that's it? Yeah, put your honey, put your cinnamon, whatever else you want to add to it, and then you just mix it and then form it however you'd like. which we can do at another episode, of course. But that's it, basically, okay? So this one is melted. Still call it a, you know, compound butter, if you like. See what I was telling you guys about doing like fajitas if you want to go vegetarian. Okay. Now, this is the fun part. This is your canvas. You guys want to go ahead and paint it however you like. Talking about your presentation. It's up to you. Whatever you guys. The only thing I want to tell you is that your starch is something you always want to put on the bottom, of course. Your vegetables. Okay? Closer. The lobster is the last thing coming out, guys. That's the one thing you do not want to overcook. How funny is that? The only time I go running is to the oven. Gutierrez is laughing. He's trying to hold his breath. Of course, you have some gloves on. Use your towel, guys. I already formed a callus on mine, so you know, yes, it's hot, but I don't feel it till later on. It looks good. Can't see words. Let me put some butter on it. Try it. When doing your presentation, height is what you guys want to focus on. Okay. The lemon that you used, you guys can do some little lemon wedges, whatever you guys like, put some on here, but I'm not. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Pretty easy? Wow.
It's amazing. It looks great. Now, is there a way to tell if your lobster's done? Somebody asked.
I'm sorry?
Is there a way to?
Stuff.
Mhm.
Besides,
Well, for one, the color on the lobster itself, as when you cook it, changes. But just looking at if you were to cut into it, for example, you wouldn't want it to be translucent. You want it to be basically white. Okay, but cutting into it, you don't want to do it because you'll mess up the presentation. That's what I'm saying. Just familiarize yourself with cooking lobster, seafood, for example, using your thermometer, and then you get used to it, maybe like on the touch. Okay, it doesn't feel super firm, which tells me it's not well done. Okay, but you know, after checking the checking the temperature at 7 minutes, it let me know that it was at about 112 degrees. So roughly 3 more minutes, whatever is more sufficient enough. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks, Sheriff, so much. Of course. Thank you, guys. You want to try it in front of you? Or no, you guys have to go?
No?
Let's try it.
Like it?
Huh?
I came prepared.
Huh?
I knew you would say yes. You can do a pan sauce on here if you like. It's your call what you guys want to do, but it's already basted in that fat deliciousness. That time is just screaming at me. It does get messy with the shell, guys. After you get the wiles and all that, and you serve your family, just have them take it off. Okay? Oh, that's what we're missing. Our drawn butter. You guys can see we got white through and through, no translucent going on. You don't know how long I've been waiting for this.
It's been 2 weeks.
Guys, I'm telling you, the top, yes, do that, and just get creative with it. Yes. Oh yeah. Thank you all very much. I'm gonna continue, and then I'm gonna feed Gutierrez. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day, guys. Get my email, please, if you want. If you guys want to share your pictures, I would love to see what you guys did. That's cool.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much to you, Chef Diaz, and also to Chef Gutierrez. Thank you all. We always learn a lot from you, and it's always fun. So thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time for doing this for us. And I invite everybody to support your culinary arts program and students by buying their 1309 meals. They're fantastic, and they package them really great to take them to go. So they're really nice. And there is a fundraiser with the AWCC this week, so you might want to take advantage of that as well. Also want to thank everybody for coming. Hope you're enjoying this workshop series. Next week, we'll have the United Way with us to talk about their programs and services. I also put the link for the Tejano Passport Points in the chat, so I hope you all are taking advantage of that as well. So have a great weekend, a great Valentine's, and thank you to all of you again for your presentation and for coming today. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.